Yesterday, St. Paddy's Day, everybody was Irish. Now we're back to normal. Here's my question. How many people in this room are of Italian descent? My wife, Joyce, is mostly Italian. Her maiden name was Mantia, and she talks with her hands. Now, it may be a myth, it may be stereotyping, or maybe it's true, but it's fun if you know somebody who's Italian to accuse them of talking with their hands. But think about the value that gestures bring to conversations and to presentations. Now imagine you're standing on one side of a glass wall, and on the other side of the glass are two people having a discussion, but you can't hear their words. Could you tell if they were mad? Could you tell if one of those people was completely disinterested in the conversation? How would you know? And the answer, of course, is through gestures and body language, which is what we're going to talk about here tonight. Our hands, our gestures, are excellent communication tools. They add tremendous value to our presentations, and yet many inexperienced speakers don't know what to do with their hands when they're speaking. We've all seen some people that get a death grip on the lectern, and some people let their hands hang limp at their sides. Some put their hands in their pockets, and other people sort of fidget nervously with keys or a pen or something like that. So let's talk about what you should do with your hands while you're speaking. Now, I chose tonight to not use a microphone. We've been using the mic down here because I didn't want to cramp my style in a presentation about gestures. But there's another good thing to this, and that is sometimes when you show up to give an outside presentation and you think you're going to have audio-video equipment, it may not be working. So this is good practice for me because I give a lot of outside speeches. Sometimes you just have to belt it out, and that's what I chose to do tonight, and you may consider the same for yourselves. Always be prepared. So let me give you some pointers on using gestures. The first one is always keep your hands above your waist. And that gives you a good guideline, sort of a range of motion to work inside of while you're going about the business of developing your own unique and personal style for speaking and using gestures. Another one is vary your gestures. If you use the same motion throughout your entire speech, pretty soon people are going to focus on that and they're going to forget what it is that you're talking about. So be sure that you vary your gestures. Another one is tap into your own unique personality, your own unique style. You know, if somebody's sort of flamboyant and an extrovert like Tom here, they're probably going to have a little more dramatic gesturing style than somebody who's a shy introvert. Doesn't that make sense? So, if you have a personality that uses big gestures, that's fine. If you're more laid back like me, then you might use a more subdued style. Neither one is right or wrong. But if you try to vary from your own style, it may come across as stiff and rehearsed and wooden. So try to develop your own style that fits your personality. Here's another one. Change your gestures to match the situation. So if you're giving a speech with a lot of drama or action, you can actually use your gestures and your body language to act out what's going on. And then when the tone of the speech changes, you can sort of become more subdued and adopt a little different style. I'll give you an example. The tax assessor dropped by my house to tell me that even though my property value has gone down 25%, just like everybody else's, that my property taxes would still be going up this year. So I grabbed him and I pulled him in the house, I knocked him out, and I chained him to a water pipe in my basement. Now that's not true, but now I feel better for having said that. So you can use your gestures and your body language to actually act out what it is you're talking about. Another reason you might change your gestures, if you're talking to a big crowd and there are folks way in the back, far away, you may need to exaggerate your gestures so they can see what's going on. Here's another one. Let's say that you have a point in your speech where it's sort of a casual moment. Maybe it's a point where you're trying to make the point, hey, I'm just an ordinary person. Maybe it's a humorous moment. You can put your hands in your pocket to make that point. Now, as long as it fits the speech and you're using it to make a point, just make sure you don't leave your hands in your pocket, okay? How about using specific gestures for specific words? For instance, if you have the point in the speech where you say stop, hold up your hand. How about a thing where you're talking about distances? You can use your hands to illustrate the difference in distances. Or if you're talking about yourself, you may choose to put your hand on your chest as you're talking about yourself. All kinds of opportunities to do that in most speeches, but again, make sure it's spontaneous, it's fluid, it's natural looking, and avoid looking stiff when you do it. So how do you gain these skills? It's no secret. Practice, practice, practice. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to practice for gestures. Number 1, practice in front of a mirror. Pretty self-explanatory. Number 2, practice in front of an audience where you can get feedback. Now here at Toastmasters, we get feedback automatically, but when you speak to an outside audience, you'll have to ask for that feedback. And number 3, videotape yourself. And here again at Toastmasters, we can do this for you when you're giving a prepared speech. Outside, you may have to fend for yourself. I bought a thing called a flip video today. It's this big, $129 for a video camcorder. It's at Best Buy, quite a deal. So if you think it's unaffordable to videotape yourself, it's not. So to wrap it up, your speech is much more than just your words. The visual part of your presentation is a lot of value for the audience. You need to spend at least as much time practicing the visual part of your presentation as you do for the verbal. And if you do, your audience will remember your speech long after you're done, even if you're not Italian.